as a career path, who are gaining career and business insights from profiled Netflix talent, and also connecting with either the celebrity status of the speakers or of their favorite Netflix content. If any of these things applies to you, then you are in the right place. Today, you will get to listen and learn from 4 renowned African speakers, hear their story of what it means to be a woman in the entertainment industry, and of course, how they have risen to carve their names in the sands of time. Now, from having a relaxed chat targeted at female creators who are either looking to grow or start their careers in the entertainment industry, to conversations with high-profile women in the entertainment industry with lessons from behind the scenes that are applicable to different areas of life. Of course, at some point, we're going to be answering pre-selected questions from the SLA community. And one thing is for sure, I am very confident that you are going to learn something new. So have a good time and hopefully walk away with the clarity and confidence to make your next career move in the entertainment industry. Now, before we start, I want us to go over a few things. Let's talk about the structure very quickly. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk to you is the event timetable, what you're going to be experiencing today. And next, I'll let you know how you can interact with me, the speakers, and of course, how to get support during the summit. Last but not the least, I will introduce our group of speakers. I'm so excited. I have read up on all of these women, and I can say that the talent that we have in the house this morning is going to bring the house down. Your virtual house, maybe not this one, but yes, it's going to bring your house down. Now, this particular summit is going to run from 11 a.m. till about 1:32 p.m. There are going to be 3 talks focused on carefully selected career topics, and also based on the feedback that you shared with us before today's event. Now, our first talk, Because She Created, a conversation that highlights the female perspective when it comes to starting out or growing in the entertainment industry, will feature 3 of these amazing women. Now, Peace Hyde, who is a British Ghanaian education activist, media entrepreneur, and motivational speaker, is one of the women you're going to be seeing today. Zulumoke Oyibo is the executive producer of a Netflix commissioned series from Nigeria, and Nora Awolowo, she's a photographer, cinematographer, filmmaker, and visual storyteller. Widely known for her exceptional filmmaking and storytelling skills that brings color to bland ideas. So that's just a peek of what to expect. We also have a surprise guest coming on, but I'm going to hold on to that very closely to my chest so that you can hang on here a little longer to find out who that surprise guest is. Now, once I introduce that person, we will go straight into a roundtable discussion where we will focus on the lessons from making the big screen from Africa to the world with our surprise guest, remember, and then these 3 amazing women, Peace Hyde, Zulumoke Oyibo, and Nora Awolowo. Finally, I will open the floor to you and our amazing audience to ask as many questions so that you can get clarity from our amazing panelists. Now, this as is in the digital age, where this is something that would have probably had in person, but we're taking advantage of social networking sites like Zoom. So for people that are not necessarily familiar with how Zoom operates, don't be worried. I'm going to run you through that in the next minute. Now, if you have ever attended an event on Zoom before, let me see your hands up. Let me see. I'm sure you've gone on there. If you see the chat box, you see the hand icon. Let me see your hands up if you ever attended. Now, remember that you use the chat box to communicate with each other during the event. You can also chat in different ways. One way is by selecting everyone. That's the everyone option before you send a message. Or you can communicate with each other directly by selecting the name of a specific participant you'd like to contact. Now, please don't forget to also use the question and answer box to send in questions you would like the speakers to answer during the question and answer segment after their presentation. You can also use it to ask the support team for help dealing with any issues during the summit. Now, sharing is caring, and we love you to engage meaningfully with your fellow attendees so you can answer and upvote other attendees' questions as well. Now, a speaker might launch a poll to get to know you or get your feedback during the summit. You don't have to answer the polls, but I encourage you to do so because it helps you know each other better. It also helps you uncover valuable insights and help the speaker tailor their content to suit your needs. Now, like the polls, at some point, the speaker may want to conduct some impromptu polling. Use the hand raise like we did before to quickly vote yes or no to a question. Now, let's try it out one more time. How many of you are excited for this first session? Let me see your hands up in the air. Come on, just wave it like you just don't care, huh? Okay, I'm seeing the hands going up and it's making me so excited as well. Now, at the end of the summit, a short survey will automatically appear on your screen. We'd appreciate if you could complete it to tell us about your experience. And of course, let us know what you think, what you think we should do next. I kind of got that confused for a bit. Now, let's talk social media. That's how we're here, right? Don't forget, if you'd like to post about your experience at the summit, please use the hashtags behind the screen, hashtag because she created, and of course, tag at She Leads Africa and Naija on Netflix. It's very important. They're the ones putting this event together. So please go on social media and show them some love and let them know that you are watching. Now it is time for the first session. Are you excited? I'm excited because everybody that is on this panel is someone that I have read about or have probably even spoken about in different spaces as it comes to media and the future of the entertainment industry in Africa. Now, the first session, called Because She Created, is an interactive session between myself, of course, and the amazing speakers that we have here. But I already told you who they are, but I'm going to go a bit deeper into what they have accomplished over the years. Now, if you are ready to be enlightened on career business, writing, directing, diversity, and gender equality by high-profile women in entertainment, then know that you are in for a treat. But I'm going to start with Peace Hyde. So Peace Hyde is a British Ghanaian education activist, media entrepreneur, and motivational speaker. She's the creator and executive producer of the Netflix first song, Famous and African. Let me just hold up there. You see, when this particular show came on, Young, Famous and African, I remember as we usually do, we tune into Netflix and the first thing I see is this series and I click on it, like, oh, let me just see what it is about. I've kind of been seeing it on social media and I clicked play. And do you believe that I did not stand up from my TV until I finished it? It was so entertaining. I loved how it showed Africa and Africans in such almost a luxurious light, so to speak. And of course, the drama. Let's not go into that. Now, she's also the head of digital media and partnerships and West African correspondent for the leading business magazine Forbes Africa. In 2018, she was shortlisted among 200 leaders as part of the Obama Foundation Africa Leaders Program. And in 2019, was awarded the African Social Impact Award at the House of Parliament, House of Commons in the UK. Now that is a big deal. So if everyone can please give a virtual round of applause in the chat to welcome her to the conference. Welcome, Peace. It's a pleasure to meet you and I'm looking forward to learning more.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited about today.
As I am. As I am. Now let's move on to our next speaker, Zulumoke Oyibo. I hope I'm pronouncing this the right way, and I would ask you when you come on. Now, Zulumoke has produced over 20 award-winning films since her first feature in 2015. all of which are top 10 rated in the year of release and contributes to her worldwide theatrical grosses of over 1.5 billion naira as of 2021. She is currently the executive producer of a Netflix commissioned original series from Nigeria and will produce a slate of films under Amazon's recently announced theatrical licensing deal with Inkblot Studios, a first of its kind deal out of Africa. In 2021, she kickstarted the Inkblot Women in Film initiative to foster women's led growth. Now, if everyone could please give a round of applause to Zulumoke in the chat to welcome her to the conference. Very quickly, am I pronouncing your name well?
You did a good job. You did a good job. It's Zulumoke.
I always try to do that with people's names, and it's very interesting, but we'll come back to that. Now let's move on to Nora Awolowo. Now, Nora is a photographer. She's a cinematographer. She's a filmmaker. She's a visual storyteller. She shot and directed her documentary called Baby Blues: Trials of Childbirth. And since then, she's been a renowned creative artist, widely known for her exceptional filmmaking and storytelling skills that bring color to bland ideas. Now, Nora has worked on several high-profile projects with reputable brands like Techno, 0 Degrees, Zebra Stripes Network, the Action Aid International, Visa Nigeria, JIT-Hub, and other top-notch organizations. So if everyone could please give Nora a round of applause in the chat section, of course, and please welcome her to the conference. Hi, Nora.
Hey.
Hi. So welcome, ladies. I just, like I said before, I really doff my hat to each and every one of you. I believe that women are capable of doing amazing things. So every time or anytime I find myself in a position to interact with women that are trailblazing, it gets me all excited. Okay, so you can't blame me. But I want to just kind of ask a few general questions. We're just testing the waters before we go into the nitty gritty. Now, what would you say spurred your foray into the entertainment industry? So let's start with Peace, and then we go in that order.
Goodness, sorry. Clearly tech is not my strong suit. I think my main driving force was just telling African stories in a way that could relate to myself. Growing up in the UK and being surrounded by young people as a teacher who were passionate about Africa, but always had a very skewed perspective of what the continent was like, always felt kind of like an injustice. And when I relocated back to Ghana specifically, I just realized that there was so much happening here. There was such a brimming talent. There was such a brimming experience and lifestyle that should be projected, because we are always being fed images in the West of children with kwashiorkor, rundown houses. We are tagged, and it is accurate, but we are identified as a third world country, continent, with nothing else but poverty, corruption, and all the usual. And I'm not against acknowledging and highlighting the reality of Africa, but I also feel that there should be a balanced projection. And so my passion in media was really, how can I contribute to creating that narrative? How can I be an example in terms of my own journey and achieving my fullest potential as myself? But more importantly, how can I be a catalyst or be part of a movement that is projecting a better Africa that is not just one way? And that is what I have done in my shows, in my writing with Forbes Africa, celebrating African excellence, and more namely the first Netflix original, unscripted original, Young, Famous and African.
And congratulations to you, of course. It's doing really well. The numbers are just soaring higher and higher every day. Well, I want to come to Zulu. Inkblot. People just came and just used ink to just blot everybody's vision. I feel like every good movie that I have seen, as far back as 2019, at least two out of 5 movies is an Inkblot production. So Was this what you saw? Could you predict this when you went into the entertainment industry?
Oof, short answer, no. Starting off was for me because of my love for stories and storytelling. And it's also the reason why, I didn't start Inkblot alone. It's co-founded with two friends of mine, Naz Onuzo and Damola Dimola. And for three of us, we just loved stories. We loved entertainment. We loved film. And so we just decided to take a shot at it. Thankfully, the industry is such that it allows you, so long as you are creative, there's little or no barrier to entry. You can just come in and start. And so we took a bet on ourselves and we started. And for us, we just wanted to make an impact. We wanted to entertain first and foremost. But majorly, we wanted to tell stories that we hadn't heard before, we hadn't watched on screen before. And we wanted to, position Nigeria in a light such that the kinds of stories people watched, kind of films people watched, they could relate to it, and they could also aspire to be better individuals. And yeah, for us, it's really just been about doing the most, doing changing the narrative, and just being as experimental, I would say, as we can be, to push the industry forward.
One thing I'm hearing from both Peace and Zulu is owning the narrative. I think I'm right when I say that. But if I come to you, Nora, you're a cinematographer, you're a photographer, you're a visual storyteller. Does that is that the same thinking that you had coming into the entertainment industry as well, that it was important to tell our own stories?
Yes, because I started as a photographer, so I just felt like, okay, I wanted to tell stories that people would relate to, even if they were not present at the moment. So I had to transition into cinematography. Right? We have less female cinematographers in Nigeria, and it just felt like I had an opportunity to just carve a niche for myself in this industry. So yeah, I decided to just go into it.
I like that you said carve a niche for yourself, because for a long time in media and in entertainment, it almost felt as if it was a man's world, quote unquote. Now I want to use to say that you are a well-striped, especially as a female in the entertainment industry. And what has your personal experience been like making a name for yourself in this industry through the work that you put out? Peace, are you with us?
Yes, I don't know if you can hear me.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. I don't know. Did you hear my question? Yes,
not exactly. The line kind of went in and out. Apologies. Could you please repeat that question?
Okay, no problem. So that's no problem. I'll do that right now. So I was, Nora said something about, having a niche for herself, and spoke about how she even transitioned from photography to cinematography. Now, you are an entrepreneur, I would believe is an understatement, because you've earned your stripes, especially as a female in this space. Now, my question to you is, would you say women are underrepresented in the entertainment industry? And what has it been like, your personal experience, making a name for yourself, especially with the work that you put out?
I think that there is a growing movement of women that are really setting the pace. Obviously, some of the people on this panel, one of my personal favorites, Moa Bodu and Balane Austin-Peters, are two exceptional women leading this movement of women now really dominating in the media space. For me, I think though the transition for me was a bit more difficult from the perspective of I had a very strong media personality, where I was a host and a TV presenter and an event host. So a lot of people have seen me in front of the camera, but never really someone who was qualified or had the ability to do something behind the scenes. And I think there's a technical and a detailed know-how that is expected, that once you've presented yourself in one capacity, it's very hard to transition. I think behind the scenes is a lot more male dominated than in front, from what I've experienced so far in my journey in media. And being able to make that transition as a female media personality to now an executive producer, a content creator, it was very challenging. And I did notice there was a lot of raised eyebrows, but I think it's about personally your vision and what you're trying to create and the impact you're trying to create with the content, and having a very clear understanding of exactly the standard you want to create. Because it's one thing to have the idea, but do you have the right team? Do you have the right vision? And are you trying to go for that international standard of content creation? Because as we are all now entering in this industry, the quality and the standards are also evolving. So it's not just getting a seat at the table, but also demonstrating with the work that you put out that you deserve that seat and that you're able to open the door for others along the way. But I really am excited because I've had a lot of people in the media industry that are in front of the camera saying, well, actually, this is something that I really want to do behind the scenes. And I would like people to take me more seriously. And I think that transition will help a lot of women feel that they can actually do that. It doesn't have to just be in front of the camera, being amazing. You can also be behind the scenes and be impactful and make a difference, sometimes even with more depth, because you know what it's like being on the other side as well.
Yes. Thank you so much for that. Peace. But I want to come to you, Zulu, because I mean, Peace spoke about the transition, the fact that she was a TV host and, she had been in front of the camera and then now had to transition into being like a producer and of course a creative director in certain spaces. Now you kind of started off behind the screens from the jump, and Inkblot has produced over 14 award-winning films and is one of the highest grossing production companies in Nigeria. And you are currently still the only female executive in the leadership team at Inkblot. So what has that experience been like for you through the years? And I mean, Peace did talk about women who are now waking up to the idea of, I don't necessarily have to be just in front of the camera. I could still apply myself behind. So what advice would you also give to young African women who, unlike you, find themselves doing the work but aren't giving any credit for it, or even just trying to start off to begin with?
The advice would be to actually just go ahead and start. In this industry, you need to have the work. You need to have the work to show that you are doing something. And then it's based off that work that you can get more work. For me, starting off behind the scenes, when I started back in 2011, thereabouts, there weren't that many female producers. But look at us where we are today in 2022, and look at how many female producers, and in fact, I know fewer male producers than I know female producers, especially in the theatrical space. And I say this to people, a lot of people don't know this, but the top 5 highest grossing films in Nigeria as of today were produced by women. Each and every single one of those 5 films. So it's amazing to see, the growth, and it's just because women actually took a chance on themselves and decided to do the work. When I started, and even till now, I would say that women are actually killing it in front of the screens in Nollywood. Women get a lot of jobs. However, the only thing I would have to say to that is that there's a lot more that needs to be done with the kinds of stories that women are given. We have a lot of lead females, but the types of stories, what characters are they portraying? Do they have agency? How are we as producers positioning women in film to show that, you can be an engineer, you can be a cinematographer like Nora. I'm so excited Nora is here, because there are very, very few females who actually are working in the technical aspect of filmmaking. So yes, there's so much opportunity. Again, I would continue to repeat, because I think this is one of the most beautiful things about this industry, is the fact that all you need to do is start by yourself. You don't need to have so much experience. You don't need to have so much education. Start. Educate yourself by yourself. You can, go online, Google. Hollywood has a ton of data on how to train yourself in whatever aspect of filmmaking you intend to go into. So just take that chance on yourself, and there is space for you. There is opportunity here.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And I like where this is going, because I also don't want this to be one of those conferences where we come and we just kind of talk about the surface stuff. We're talking about how to get more women engaged, especially behind the screen. And now to come to you, Nora, you started out as a photographer using just your mobile phone to capture portraits, and you eventually built your brand as a reputable filmmaker and visual storyteller over the years. Now, a lot of people, especially those with limited understanding of the industry, are looking to see, don't necessarily see the journey or see the time required to build your brand. And picking off of what Peace has said and what Zulu have said about kind of going with the process, just starting, just putting work out there. What advice would you give to someone who is just starting out with no resources and is looking to make their brand, either as a photographer, a visual storyteller, a producer, a director, an executive, into a household name? Nora.
Okay. First things first, like I usually tell everybody is just starting out. Like I started with an iPhone 5. I can't remember. I think that was in 2016, 2017. Taking pictures and leveraged on social media by sharing them. Then I got a contact from a reputable mobile company to actually use their smartphone to take pictures and share. And I was being paid every month, and I was still in school then. So I think the first 6 months salary was what I used to get my first camera. So the transition from mobile photography into proper photography was quite easy, because people already knew me that I already leveraged on my mobile photography. So my advice to anybody is just start. Then I felt photography was not as exciting as I wanted it to be. Then I also felt I had friends in the same circle that were also into filmmaking, and I loved what they were doing. They were telling original stories. Some of them were also telling stories that we have seen in our cinemas. So I also leveraged on my circle, because having the right circle also helped me. So yeah, that was also what was just helped me transition from photography into cinematography. So my advice for anybody that wants to start is just start with anything you have, and also it's not an overnight success. There's growth. You just leave room for growth, and also make sure that you also have people in your corner that also are assisting you one way or the other.
Okay. I just want to ask, I think this is more of a general, more like a yes or no question, and I want everybody to answer. Do you think women bring something different to the table when it comes to telling stories? Do you think that just being a woman makes you see things differently, even though it's a technical know-how when it comes to telling stories and just putting everything together? Would you say that it's different for women? I just want to go around and ask each and every one of you. Can we start with a Peace?
It ain't gonna be a yes or no, but I think if you look at even just our answers to your initial question, by all our different experiences, our passion and our vision and what drives us are unique to our personal life journeys and experiences. So if you imagine an entirely different gender, you can see how impactful that is. And for me, when I look at the flavor that a woman brings to the screen, is that we tell stories, I think, with a lot more detail and nuances. So when you look at the quality of stories that are being put out, when a woman is behind the lens, it's a lot more in touch with the heart of the story. There's a lot more emotion. They take you on a journey, I think, in a lot more intense way, because I think that is really how we are wired. And I know just Young, Famous and African alone, a lot of the conversations that have been ignited from that are about the woman's journey in different spheres. And it's about how each woman has owned their great moments, there are difficult moments, but I noticed when we were sitting in that writer's room and we were looking at how the producers were putting together everyone's organic storylines, the men had a totally different perspective and they had a totally different arm that they were leaning on, because obviously their interest and their vision is different from ours. And so I think that that's why it's so important to have platforms like this and to have women standing up and saying, we need to tell our stories, because nobody can tell your story better than your own. And I think that's what this movement is all about.
Very quickly, Zulu and of course Nora, because we so that we can move on to our next speaker who will be joining us very shortly. Zulu, what is it about women? What do we bring to the table? What are we not realizing about ourselves that is so powerful?
So I always draw a link to how we're raised as African women. How women are supposed to nurture, women are supposed to clean the house, women are supposed to think about what everyone is going to eat and what everyone is going to do and all of that jazz. And I draw that to how women carry that training from the house to the workplace. And you see that we actually learn skills that are very socially valuable, because we are emotional creatures. We connect so well with the people around us. And you see in film, it's such a relationship-based industry. There is no way you can make it. I've not seen really, in my experience, in 11 years experience, I have not seen anyone do it by themselves, right? You have to collaborate. And to be collaborative, you need to have a strong relationship. You have to be strong, basically, in your relationship, in your interpersonal relationships. And so for me, I just say women bring that touch. We know we're able to see the things that men can't see, especially behind the scenes, when we're script writing, when we're producing, when we're directing. We're able to bring those little nuances, those little details to enhance a story and to enhance a film. And you know, it's so important for women to be involved in conversations, especially around policy in the industry, just so that we're able to clean up the industry in a way that we now have structure. We now have investors able to look in and say, okay, this is what is happening. I can do this in this space. I'm confident enough to come in and invest in this industry. And I mean, I'm looking forward to what us as women would finally do when we actually come into our power, because we do have that power. I speak, I have an initiative I started, the I Woman in Film. And speaking to women, I say that everyone is really on the same page when it comes to what we know we have and what we know we can bring to the table. And so I just can't wait for everyone to just have the chance to prove themselves. And it will be there will be such a difference when women are able to impact properly and completely.
All right. Thank you so much, Zulu. I've never felt happier to be a woman in the entertainment industry. But I want to come to you, Nora. I want you to, answer this question from your perspective, as it definitely as it applies to you. What it is about women that you believe makes them unique when it comes to storytelling, and of course, visual storytelling to speak of.
Okay, I agree with like what both of them said, because for me, I feel like women approach to storytelling like it's quite different, especially for sensitive issues. Like that these are things that actually like affect you, so you want like your approach to it to be something that also like relatable to your fellow women. Also, I also think that two people, like I usually say, people cannot stand in front of a scene and take like the same picture. Like there is always going to be like different outputs. Yeah, so this is what I think.
So sorry, we're having a bit of a technical difficulties, but thank you so much, to all our panelists. We're not done. We are just gonna have our special guest speaker come on, and then we're going to have the question and answer session. The women and girls on here have been asking so many questions. I can't wait for us to get there. But very quickly, let me go straight to our surprise guest speaker. Oh, I'm very excited about this person because I personally, I've obviously never met her before, but I was talking, remember in my introduction, I was talking about watching the Netflix show that was famous, and Kanye was one of my favorite characters. I was like, girl, I like you. It's interesting because at first I thought, oh, she's dramatic, but then as the show went on, I kind of understood her reasoning. She was almost like the mommy, like just trying to make sure that everybody was on point. And I feel like if that's who she really is and she brings that into this conversation, you're about to have a powerful round table discussion. Now, Kanyisile Mbao, I hope I pronounced that well, professionally known as Kanye Mbao, is a South African actress, television host, and artist. Now, raised in Soweto, Kanye rose to widespread prominence and became a household name and the second dibsy in the SABC2 soap opera Muvhango between 2004 and 2005. Mbali and the SABC1 soap opera Nzamni, as well as the first mini-series After 9. As of 2018, she became the host of the SABC3 entertainment show called The Scoop, The Big Secret in BET Africa, and she plays Tishidi on Mzansi's Magic Abo Mama. Now, like I said, I mean, when it comes to South African television, we are limited. Well, I'm limited here because of cable. But Netflix put this woman in my, set this woman in my sights, and she's such a powerful personality. If you could please put your hands together for Kanye Mbao. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Hello to everyone, and hello to Peace as well.
This is a mini reunion happening here. Have you seen each other since the show? Have you been in touch since the show?
We speak on the phone, but we haven't seen each other physically since last year.
Yeah.
Shout out to Shili's Africa, bringing people together. Now we're going straight into a round table discussion. Now we're going to be talking about, of course, lessons from making the big screen from Africa to the world. But just because, I mean, we have been talking about it for a while, Kanye, and these amazing women have given us different, their different experiences and ways that they've been able to tackle the challenges that they faced up until where they are at now. So briefly, if you can just give us a bit of your history with the entertainment industry, and then we can go straight into the core roots of how we can take the lessons learned and apply it to the big screen, taking Africa to the world.
Thank you so much. Sure, my journey with TV and the entertainment industry started years ago. I was 7 years old, and I was found by a lady called Genevieve when my mom bought me a hat, and I was so happy to wear this hat. I was dancing in front of the mirror in the shop. And little did I know that there was a talent scout in the shop. And Janine then came up to me and said, what's your name? And I said, Kanye. And she says, how old are you? And I told her 7. And she says, what song is this? And I said, it's a Sutra song that I learned from school. I don't know if I'm saying it right. And she says, would you like to be on TV? And I was like, oh, yes. Can we go now? And she was like, well, not now. Is this your mom? I will contact her. And I think, as they say, everything else was history. So TV has literally been a part of my life. I've grown right in front of the screen till today. South Africans have watched me develop into the woman that I am today and the performer that I've become. I initially thought I was going to be a presenter, not an actress. And Muvhango was my first big role on television. But how it happened was, I was taking my sister for an audition when the director asked me to read for her because his assistant had stepped out for coffee. And when I read, the directors were blown away with how I portrayed the character. And this is how I then got onto the show. And then my TV career just started from there as becoming an actress.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Let's go straight into it now. Before you came on, I think the last thing that we were talking about was what women bring to the table. Now, it almost seems as if, I mean, there was a particular comment that Peace said earlier, because she started off, and it's interesting that you made the connection between, being transitioning from being a presenter to being an actress, because what we tend to see in these different scenarios is a transition. It's almost as if there's a certain job that gives you a leg into the industry, and the more time you spend in the industry, you begin to find out what personally interests you, what you want to do that challenges yourself. Would you say that your transition from being a presenter to being an actress, and now even being a producer, was it something that was difficult for you to do as a woman? And how were you able to overcome some of those challenges, Kani?
I thank God for the transition from being a presenter to an actress, because I was I won't say troubled, but I was a teenager that had a lot to say.
What would you say then? If not troubled, what would you say?
I would say I was opinionated, and I always questioned the society and community that I grew up in. I didn't understand why women weren't allowed to do certain things that men could. Why couldn't women dress in a certain way, or be heard in a certain way, or be perceived in a certain way that my brothers, cousins are, which are males? So I think acting allowed me to then explore all these different spheres and conversations that I've always had with myself. I could play a mother, and I could have that conversation as Kanye to my character as the mother, and try and find out what is my mom's perspective in raising me. And I could also then play someone's sister. So this kind of helped me, and it was a therapy for me to try and develop into a sound-minded human being that has her head screwed on right and has her own opinion, instead of being indoctrinated with what people expected me to be. So acting is the greatest thing that has ever happened to me, and I thank God for that transition. The transition was very difficult, because in acting, it's a religion. You need to practice it, you need to believe it, and you need to understand it. And it's not something you get in one conversation or one script. You constantly need to keep building the characters that you play and understanding what acting is. So I call it gym. You need to constantly be working on your craft, because it's a lifetime experience.
Okay, so I want to touch on something that I guess is not as cozy, and I feel like if not now, then when? Because I'm on a panel with 4 women who have been very, very significant in moving the entertainment industry forward. As a woman, would you say, I mean, if you look at the entertainment industry, it's glitz, it's glam, there's a certain persona that is expected of you, there's certain, lifestyle, there's certain way you're supposed to present yourself. Now, in the entertainment industry, there have been approximately 73% of sexual assault cases that have come from men or women who are in superior positions and are impressed on inferiors. Now, 60% of those cases have never made it to, to court or to any kind of authority or whatsoever. And more, it almost seems as if, because like I said earlier, as if it's the men who have the keys to this industry. There are certain things that a woman is expected to do or behave like, or, when it comes to a really bad situation, is sexually assaulted because of the space that they find themselves in. Now, is there anything that we can do as women in the entertainment industry to make sure that it's a safe space? Because even up until 3 days ago, I was still talking to someone who was being sexually prepositioned in her place of work. and not necessarily knowing how to go about it, and almost even considering going ahead with it because that's what she felt she had to do to level up. So I'm going to come back to you, Peace, and I also want Zulu and Nora to pitch in on this. Are we doing enough to protect women in the entertainment industry?
I think there is a narrative that it's important. This is a very big industry, but small at the same time. And I think there's a strong emphasis, especially when I was entering in, relationships are key. You know, make sure everyone's cool with you, everyone likes you. And I think when you get into certain difficult situations, those advice starts resounding in your mind, which can cause a pressure for you to make choices that aren't in your best interests. And also, if you're surrounded by a lot of people that are putting that pressure on you, sometimes you think that that might be the best way. I'm really, really passionate about standing your ground. I think that if you truly believe that you have the ability to do something and you put in the work, as Kanye said, like a gym, you're constantly honing your craft. Once you build a level of confidence in your ability and in your vision and what you want to achieve, you will walk away from anything that doesn't honor that. And I always like to encourage people that I'm working with and that I'm surrounded by, don't be afraid to walk away. Don't be afraid to offend. And please, if you need to step on toes, throw your whole body down on those toes and keep moving. Because in reality, if you don't win by playing any shorthand games, it never works. If you want to grow, make sure you're arming yourself with the skill set to be the best you can be. And if anyone doesn't respect you as an individual, as a professional, walk away, because there's no opportunity truly in that. Because whatever you do to get in the door is what you're going to have to keep doing to stay in that room, and it won't last. So it's always better to, I feel, have that narrative pushed out and let people understand you will lose opportunities, you may lose roles, not even just from a sexual abusive perspective, but even just a cliquey type of perspective, where people may have heard things about you, they may not like things, not from their own experience half the time. It's all about he said, she said, but it's really about standing in the truth of who you are and what you believe you're here to do. And I feel that making sure you're arming yourself and perfecting your craft makes all the difference, because good work speaks for itself. It doesn't require PR, it doesn't require connections. It really is about how good you are and what you produce and what the world sees once you put it on the stage. You have so many international platforms now that are creating opportunities for creatives to show the world what they're able to do without having to necessarily cross their own integrity or morals. And I think that it's important that we not only stand on these platforms that we have, like She Leads Africa is creating an opportunity for us to do today, but let women know that not necessarily going with the status quo and being intimidated by what seems to be the big name for the moment, because it's always changing. Don't let them push you into an area that makes you feel uncomfortable. Don't be afraid to lose opportunities. Don't be afraid to lose relationships. You will get there as long as you're honing your craft and making smart professional decisions that will take you to the top and keep you there and keep the respect that you deserve and that you're working towards amassing, as opposed to just playing the shorthand game and trying to please everyone. It doesn't ever work. No one's always going to like you. You're not jollof rice, especially not Ghanaian jollof rice. So it's not going to work. You need to focus and make sure you're good at what you're doing. Keep improving. Don't get back to me about the rice, because you know I'm right.
You know, I was about to come like, no.
I saw it. I swear.
No way. You have 3 Nigerians on here. You can't come for our jollof rice. But we'll let you take this one, because you know Ghana just won Nigeria. So we'll let you take this one for now. I want to come to you, Zulu. I saw you nodding your head you were agreeing with her. And I think it's very important to hear what you have to say. And the reason is this. I was talking about the fact that you are one of the, I think, the only female executive right now at Inkblot. And when you even look around, fine, we have women in strategic positions in the entertainment industry, but it's still not balanced, is it? And especially when it comes to taking on roles. I mean, I'm sure you've heard the stories. We've heard the accusations of, actresses coming out to say, I auditioned for a role. I know I did well, but then I was, kind of solicited, by a male producer because that's what is being done. That's the culture. So when you're looking at it from behind the screen, we have a lot of young girls on here, about approximately 400 young girls watching this who want to become actresses in the future. How can they deal with this? And as a woman who's already there, you've also spoken about IWF. How do you intend on balancing it out and making it a safe space for these young girls?
So first of all, what Peace said was so spot on. Like, that's the first thing as an individual. You should take that advice, take it home with you. It's super important to build your confidence and to build your self-worth. But beyond that, there is a responsibility on the women who are in executive positions, who are producers, who are behind the scenes and can put a word in, to always look out for other women. There is a need. So there's in this on this topic in particular, the value of community is so essential. We need to be able to band together to defend ourselves, to protect ourselves against these things happening. It's really unfortunate that this is still the narrative for how many years. Even, I mean, the Me Too movement started in 2015, but we still have these situations arising in the industry, and it's really super unfortunate. So what I would say is that the problem is that we don't have consequences when these actions take place. I've heard of stories where, women are harassed on set. They're shooting a scene, an actress is shooting with an actor, and, he does more than he's supposed to be doing. Maybe it's a sex scene or something. And, it gets uncomfortable. And some women don't even speak up because why do you want that to be what people are saying about you? And also, they've seen other people speak up and there are no consequences because the person that touched me is powerful, So what can we do? What can we put in place? I think the first step is to build a community, where you have numbers, and in unity you can move forward and fight this thing. The second thing I think every production should have is hotlines. Hotlines where people can talk privately, confidently, can express the situation that has happened, and just it's a really difficult thing. I can't even I can't express how difficult it is as well, but I feel like there's so much responsibility on women in top positions, women who already are in those rooms, who can fight against this culture. It needs to be stopped. And but I think first and foremost, again, which is why I was nodding so vigorously when Peace was talking, is individually we need to build our own confidence. We need to build to stand on our own principles and choose to fight as opposed to succumb to any of these advances that come our way.
Definitely, I agree. I want to come back to Kanye now. I mean, we have sort of addressed, what I would tag physical health when it comes to, sexual assault, especially in the entertainment industry. But mental health, that was one phrase that kept popping up when I read about you. Even in the series, you kept talking about, you got to make sure your mind is right. You got to make sure your mind is right. It's something that you seem to be very passionate about. Now, can you is something you can walk us through? Like, when did you think it was important to start prioritizing your mental health? And what would you say to women who are getting started in self-love? Because really and truly, when it comes back to whoever it is, your journey, it really starts with yourself. If you're not okay, you can't tell other people's stories if you're not okay. So can you talk to me about that, the importance of mental health to you, and of course the start of your self-love journey?
Thank you very much. I feel like the industry does not educate young actors that come into the space about what fame really does. They get the pressure that you need to be on the biggest show, build your name, get these awards. But people don't really talk about what fame really does. Fame is an illusion that changes your personality, how you walk, how you see yourself. It gives you a phantom sense of self. You see yourself as an avatar. You see yourself as how people portray you on social media, newspapers, magazines, the airbrushed perfection. But after the first 6 weeks of your show, and now that people are now accustomed to your new role, they will start picking at the real you after putting you on this high that you're this perfect being that makes no mistakes. Then one day when people get onto social media, they then find all the negatives put out, and that's when the problem starts. Most people then start getting addictive personalities and start using things. Some people get high on the fame and start acting out of character to try and maintain this look of perfection. So mental health is literally you remembering what the blueprint is that you've had with yourself. Why did you want to get into the industry? What was the reason behind it, apart from getting money and living this dream life that you have? Is it a passion? And that's the first thing I always tell actors and these young ones that are coming into the industry, that always remember who you are. Beyond staying hungry, remember the things that Kanye likes. Remember the places Kanye hangs out in. Remember the people Kanye refers to as her friends, because those are the people that are going to keep you grounded. Because once you get into the limelight and the whole glitter of Tinseltown takes you, it is easy to lose yourself. And then 10 years down the line, you're going to come back and point at the industry and say, these people broke me. This is the industry that broke me. And yet you forgot, you let go of who you truly are.
Thank you so much for that, Kani. How time flies. It's already 11:59. We're going very soon. We're going to the question and answer segment. But I wanted to find out what is next for you, Kani. Like, what should we be on the lookout for? I mean, right now we have reruns and reruns of you on Netflix that we can always go back for. So what's next? Is there season 2? Season 2 soon?
YFA is not just a show. YFA is a true lifestyle of how we truly live. So as much as you guys have only seen season 1, we're constantly living YFA. We are constantly building these narratives because what we bring on the show is truly what's happening with us. So even now, I am on YFA because I am young and I am famous and I am proudly African. So already in season 2. I know that we have not packaged it for you to consume, but if you go on our Instagrams, you are in season 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, because YFA, as long as we're all alive, is going to happen. Even other Africans behind me already giving us the 100th season of it. YFA is a lifestyle. It's not a reality show. So what is next is just me giving you a package to say, this is what my year has been. But yeah, YFA is happening. If you go to any of our pages, you are in YFA because you're also YFA. The fact that now you've consumed it and because you're African, you're in it as well. So we're all doing this right now. And that is the next thing, is just to serve it to you in a silver platter.
Thank you so much for that. Nora, I want to come to you. We've spoken about your documentary. I know we didn't really have a chance to go into it, in detail, but what's next for you, Nora? What are you working on? What, projects should we be expecting from you, even as we begin to wrap up the roundtable discussion?
I recently did something for FIFA, but sadly we did not qualify for World Cup, so it's like 5 or 3.
But the money qualified into your account, Sha.
Yeah, well, that's that.
So, as long as that happened, well, okay.
Yeah, it's a documentary on our 1994 players, and talking to like the people. These are our legends, and I'm looking forward to them releasing it because I think we did a good job. Likes of Yakini, his daughters, and family. Yeah, so like a lot of work we put in place. So I'm looking forward to that coming out. Yes, I also work with Inglot on the production. I'm also looking forward to coming out. Yeah, so like I think I have like a lot of stuff in order. Currently I'm partnering with a production company in South Africa where we're working on something for Nat Geo World here in Nigeria. So yeah, like we have like lots of plans for 2022.
I like that. I like that. So many plans. Let's come to you, Zulu. What's 2022 saying? What movies are coming out this year?
Oh, well, first of all, on the 15th of April, there's The Blood Covenant coming to theaters.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, well, whoop. And there's so much. We have so much. I'm currently working on 6 things. I mean, I'm starting production in something on Monday, in another in May, another in June. A lot of these things we haven't actually announced, so I can't announce. But yes, there's just a lot of work. It's just many more films. My partners and I also on podcast, Ingblood Meet and Read podcast that's on YouTube. And it's on all podcasts as well that you listen to. Yeah, so we're just going to continue doing what we're doing. And growing the industry, I guess. That's it.
Yes, I love to see it. Peace. When I said season 2, I saw your face. You're trying to keep a straight face. No, we already know that season 2 is coming. But we just don't know when. We just don't know when. But of course, like Kanye said, every day is a day where you are young and you're famous and you're African. But apart from that, what else can we expect from you this year? You see, give us more little bit of expo, please.
If you know me well, or you get to know, I really don't say anything. I mean, you'll see it when it comes. I think Young, Famous and African, which is like the first major title I've done in the entertainment industry, is currently trending #1 worldwide. I think we all should just have that moment and enjoy that moment. But
okay,
you won't see me, you'll feel me when the next title drops. And I'm, by God's grace, let's keep this same energy going. But I really love what Kanye said. And I really, I'm obsessed with her, she knows. That is really who we all are. And I think all the ladies on this panel as well, because in your own unique ways, whether you realize it or not, you've inspired people like myself and like Kanye, and like some of the people that you probably don't even realize are obsessed with you guys secretly, because I have a speciality for that, especially you, Zulu. But I really love seeing you guys, even behind the scenes, honoring your vision and fighting that path for us women like us to see what you're doing and then go, but wait, maybe if I just perhaps. And so I just really want to encourage you guys to keep doing it, because it is amazing to see you in action, breaking down those doors so that we can just put on our little shoes and tiptoe in. It's really appreciative. And by you just being you and honoring you guys' visions, you're giving us dreams and making them become reality. And so that means everything. So I just want to really appreciate all of you guys for sharing this panel with me and just sharing your knowledge. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. Now we have.
Thank you guys.
Okay. So let's move on very quickly to a question and answer segment. It's been the question and answer chat box has been going wild. We have about 25 minutes to actually it's 20 minutes to go through a lot of these questions. I'll try to take them as quickly as possible. Now, the first question here goes to Kani, and Yeleti wants to know how you choose your roles, or in her question, she says, do you take every role proposed to you? If not, how do you choose a role?
Actors and actresses don't choose roles. Roles choose us. So when you read the storyline and the character Bible and breakdown, it will just resonate with you. Whatever the character's going through, it will just sit well with you. And that's how you know you should take it. Honestly speaking, actors don't choose roles. The role chooses you.
I like that. Straight to the point. If you really see a script that speaks to you, I guess, then that's one way to know that you should be doing that particular role. Thank you so much for that, Kai. Now, Rufaro says she started a TV show. She's investing in it herself, from crew to production. How can she get TV stations or broadcasters like DSTV, Netflix, Amazon, you name it, to fund her projects and place them? That question is to you, Zulu. Oh, you're still on mute. That's okay.
Sorry. So I would say this, what you need to do is pitch, right? You need to pitch to any platform that you want to go on. But the thing is, it's quite difficult. I would not lie to you, because if you haven't been invited to do a pitch, it's hard to reach, right? But there are distributors that are available in the industry, aggregators who you can go up to, pitch your idea to them, see where it takes you from there. But that's really the first step to get any type of funding, to get any type of conversation going. You need to do a pitch. So what I'll say to you is make sure it's the best pitch ever. Go online, Google how to write pitches. There are fantastic pitch decks, that are available online for you to read and get, an idea of how to write the story, how to market, because you're actually packaging in marketing. It's a marketing pitch, really. So you need to just go online and find out how you can write it, and well, good luck is what I'll say.
Good luck to you. I mean, just to feed off what you said, I mean, I'm not saying it's easier now, but I think with the internet and the fact that a lot of people put information out there, you'd be surprised what you can pick off the internet, like what people have done and how you can take those lessons and apply it to yourself. So please always make sure you use the mass that the internet provides. Now, this question goes to you, Nora. This person says, when starting out, did you have a second job? How did you balance your photography and cinematography? If yes is the answer, how were you able to balance it out?
When I started, I was in university, so I did not have a second job. So I started as a student, and I can tell you, most of the time, because I schooled in APC, I was majorly in Lagos, because Lagos is the commercial hub for films. So to be honest, I was surprised when I came out with good grades because my parents were also shocked, because I was mostly in Lagos every other day. I think it's also knowing that I did not want to use accounting that I studied when I graduated. So I just said, okay, I have to find a balance and focus on this I want to do for the rest of my life. I don't think it's even easy, because most of other weekends, my parents don't know I'm in Lagos and I'm traveling in Lagos, and I'm traveling 6 hours to Lagos to come and work. But again, I think, to be honest, now I don't even regret the decision, because now I'm doing really well for myself. Yeah, so the balance, I was not doing any other job. The person said, I was a student when I started. I think I started when I was 17 years. So now that it was easier for me to transition when I graduated to come fully into the industry.
All right, then. Thank you so much. My next question is for Peace. I'm not sure if she's still on here, but I'll go quickly. Okay. Hi, Peace. Somebody on here, she had asked the question. I ignored it, but then she asked it again in caps. So I'm asking you now. She says, why did you choose to shoot NFA in South Africa? Why not Nigeria? Why not Ghana? Why was it South Africa? So Peace.
We shot a young, famous and African, predominantly in Joburg. Like Kanye beautifully said, all the cast members are organically tied together. So you're not going to create a fake storyline to accommodate someone in another part of Nigeria or Ghana or Zimbabwe just because you want the country to be represented. It was really important about keeping the authenticity and originality of their true lives. So even when we have I call it a writer's room, but it's actually a room of producers that took everything that is actually happening in each cast member's life and made sure that when we presented it on screen, we were presenting the most authentic, true self to reality of what they're saying is happening. There was not a point that we can influence what they say. There's not a point that we can influence what they do. If there's nothing they want to do, they won't do it. So if you put that into capacity as a foundation of what the show was created on, we cannot create a scene where they're in Nigeria, for example, if that's not real. Because then you're creating a film or a TV series that is not an unscripted reality. And so we have to make sure that even legally, we're making sure that we're presenting you authentic, true stories. And that's why we made sure that all the stories kind of connected in that hub where people organically could cross over and live out their lives without it being scripted or, you know, thrown together and it's not organic or true.
Okay. All right. Then hope you've, that I think that's for Rotendo. Peace has answered. You leave me now. Okay.
I've answered.
All right. Then I want to come back to Kanye. Now, this person actually says the question is for everyone, but I'm coming to you because she says she's a presenter, she's a host, and she's an actor, which is three things that you've also been as well. Now, she's saying that it's been a lot trying to be a young entertainer, but she's been able to get certain roles with the promise of exposure. So how does she balance out getting paid for the work that she's doing, or you know, kind of like leveraging that to get seen? I don't know if I mean the question I had to almost So I think we have a lot of situations where, you know, women are told, "I just do this work now. Don't worry, you'll be exposed." You'll be exposed. People will see you, and then they don't actually compensate you properly. As someone who is just starting out, how can you balance that out?
So for me, thank you so much for the question. You cannot balance it out. And no disrespect to presenters and hosts, but you need to choose what your forte is. So I'm an actress. That's what I do. And then I can also present and I can also host. So she needs to start out by defining who she is and what her forte is. If she's a presenter that also acts, then she needs to focus on the presenting. Because when you do three things and you haven't broke into the industry completely, you confuse people. They don't know where to place you. And you need to first define, for instance, you can be a doctor, but what do you specialize in? Because in the industry, we are all doctors of healing, but we specialize in different areas. We've got musicians, we've got actors, we've got directors, but what do you specialize in? So she needs to find her speciality. We're all doctors, but what do you specialize in? And that's how you start getting recognition and respect for what you do. And you'll start getting paid, because you need to first respect the craft before it can pay you. So if you've got two other sides for that craft, how is it going to take you as its main? Come on.
Well, I mean, I just want to ask a follow-up question, because I've also been in this position. I mean, when I first started off, I'm a journalist with Arise News, but then on the side, you know, just to make one or two extra, you know, money, I also host events as well. I mean, this is what I'm doing here, and I've been in certain positions where the money that they offer me is ridiculous. I'm like, no, come on, you had a budget for this. But then because it's such a huge platform, I'm almost considering taking it, because I feel that if I do it, then more eyes will see me. But then there are also situations where I felt I had to walk away from money that I know I needed in that scenario. So how do you do it?
All right. So remember that art is a manifestation. We make believe and we make things happen and become a reality. We take words that don't exist, we say them, and we manifest them into a camera that becomes a picture that people believe. So you need to continue doing what you believe you are. So if you are an actress, doing what you love is a meditation. It'll eventually work into money. And unfortunately, art is a life of service. You need to first service it before it can give you the money. If you're going to rush for the money first, you're going to get it, but your vision won't be clear, and you won't stand in the iconic hall of people that have really played a role in the art space. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Oh, you're making all the sense in the world. Thank you so much for that. Now I want to come to Zulu. We have about 13 minutes to the end of this, about 10 minutes to the end of this Q&A. Now, this person is asking, talking about, actually, this question is for Peace and Zulu. Now, thank you for sharing the behind the scenes transition. My question is, what are some of the practical things that you've had to do to assert your place without overcompensating, especially around a more experienced crew when you are still crafting your style? and voice. So who wants to start, Zulu or Peace? Let's do Zulu. Zulu?
All right. So I take it that this person is asking as a new entrant into the industry, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay. I think first of all, don't be afraid to not know things, right? You're going to keep learning every day of your life. So don't be afraid to show that you do not know something. Because trust me, you would need to ask all those questions to get yourself more knowledgeable about your craft. And really, to be honest, I don't know how many people look down on questions. Really, I think that for me, that question really is it's a fear of yours that you should pack. Try and overcome that fear. It's not a real
Zulu?
thing.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hello?
Okay, I'm not. Yeah, okay, we kind of had a bit of a glitch. The internet connection here is a bit unstable. If you could just repeat the last thing you said, Zulu.
I said, I think the question might be coming from a place of fear. The person that asked the question might have put that question across from a place of fear. And I think you should try and overcome that because fear isn't real. Fear is not a real thing. So just go forward, start what you want to do. Don't be afraid to look stupid. But to be honest, nobody looks at you as stupid because you're asking a question. Nobody does.
Oh.
And you would learn along the way. You're supposed to keep learning all the days of your life. You're not supposed to know it all, So just go ahead, do the work you need to do. Of course, also, prepare yourself. Get as much education as you can by yourself. And then when you have a problem, just ask questions and move on.
Yeah. Peace, if you could just touch on that very quickly.
Yeah, I was ready there because what Zuli said is completely correct. You're the only one who feels this way. And I'm saying this because I felt that way when I was even entering into this project that we're currently talking about. It's really called imposter syndrome, where you have an idea or you have a vision and you spend the rest of your time doubting whether you can, whether it's real, whether you're going to embarrass yourself. And really it's your own fight against yourself. It's your brain's way of making you doubt yourself, but it's not real. I was working with some of the most accomplished teams that sound guys, directors, DOP, like there was so many amazing people. But one thing I found is when we all got on that set, we were all asking each other questions, because whereas one person has the vision or has the tone that they're trying to achieve, another will say, well, why don't we do it like this? So it's a collaborative effort. And I think that the only time you really fail is when you're trying to paint a perception that is not real. It's better for people to say, oh, this person doesn't seem like they know, and give you the answer, than for you to come across like you know it all and then end up selling yourself short because you were insecure about maybe not coming across like how you should. This is a lifelong journey to learning. And I think you start winning when you actually realize, I don't know anything, and you're proud about it. And you can then say, look, Zulu, how do you do this? I'm lost about this. And also that's the beauty of the journey. It's about walking in, not knowing a thing, and then seeing the results and going, damn, I know that weren't me. That's you, God. So I feel like that's the beauty of your journey. Don't fight the doubt, because it's human. We all do it. But as long as it's been given to you, as long as you believe there's something there for you and you're willing to do the work, be teachable, surround yourself with people that believe in you and encourage you, even at your low points, and be willing to just not look like the smartest one in the room. Because if you are the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room. Then you will never you're the only one that can hold yourself back. There's nobody that can stop you but your own self and your own mind. So I think Zulu was 100% right about what
I just quickly wanted to add that you'll be quite shocked. A lot of people love to help. A lot of people love to be asked questions. And a lot of people would love to teach. So please ask away, please. And go ahead, do what you want to do, please. We need you.
Yes. Thank you so much for that. This is our final question to Nora. This person says, I'm truly excited that you're a female cinematographer. What would you say as an African cinematographer are some of the important things you intentionally try to include when you capture content to maintain the authenticity of the African stories you work on? So this is our last question, Nora.
Okay, first of all, I think like it depends on the story I'm working on. It's like a fictional story. It depends on like the director's vision eventually. But for me, what I just try to capture is like they usually say the cameras that are made are not made for black people. So lighting for black people are like quite different. And what I've just tried to like lighting for black people that makes the black actually shine. So also as a female African cinematographer, I think for me it's even harder because thinking about it, I don't think we've had any female cinematographer in Nigeria that's had their film in the cinema recently. So like actually having like a mentor, somebody that can actually like just guide your path during this process is quite harder. But I think now it's going to break because yes, I shot a film that's coming to cinema very soon in June, and probably have our first female cinematographer that has a film in cinema. So telling stories as a female, I think it's just trying to just portray like the director's vision, what they want, and just let them know that it aligns with what I also want to tell, basically.
Okay, thank you so much, Nora. Appreciate your answer. But that's all the time that we have for the question and answer session. Thank you all for sharing your questions with us. And of course, a big thank you to Kani, Peace, Zulumoke, and Nora for sharing your insights with our audience. It's been such a pleasure learning from you today. And now what I'll do is let you say goodbye to the audience and let them know where to find you. So we'll start with Kani. Let's start with Kani.
Thank you so much for the invite, guys, and everyone who also joined us today. You can find me across all platforms as Mbao Reloaded on social media. Or else you can find me on Netflix.
I love it. Yes, find me on Netflix. Catch me outside. How about that? Okay, who's the next? Zulu? Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you guys for inviting me here. This was such an insightful panel. You can find me on my social media, Instagram, Twitter, at ZVLV. And yeah, watch my films, Inkblot.
Yes.
All right, then Nora.
Thank you, SLA, for this platform and Netflix. You can catch me on social media, Nora Awolowo, everywhere. Yeah, thank you.
And of course, last but not the least, Peace.
You can find me on all social media platforms, Peace Hyde or Peachy. And please watch, I know you've watched YFA, but tell every single human being that you've ever shared oxygen with to watch that show. And when they've watched it, tell them to go back and watch it again, okay?
Thank you so much for attending the behind the scenes conference. We hope you had a great time. I've learned a lot personally, and I feel like our audience has as well. I feel ready to take on the next step of my career journey, and I hope you are as well. But before we close, please, in the comment section, please give a huge round of applause to Kani, Peace, to Zulu, and Nora in the chat section. I was somewhere recently, and they said the person was trying to explain how to give a round of applause the right way. Now, this is how I've been giving a round of applause. But in this etiquette class, they said you actually do this. It's a round of applause. I didn't know this. I just found out. So I'm sharing this knowledge with everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Once we end the conference, of course, a short survey is going to automatically appear on your screen. So please take a few minutes to complete the survey to tell us about your experience and what you'd like us to do next. My name is Seyitan Atigari. You can find me on social media, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, Seyitan Atigari. That's SEYITAN ATIGARIN. I'm going to say it again because I'm the host. SEYITAN ATIGARIN. That's Seyitan Atigari on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Now, thank you again for taking time to attend behind the scene conference. If you've taken any pictures, any screenshots whatsoever on your Instagram, please post it on your stories, on your grids, on your Twitter, on your Snapchat, and of course, tag at She Leads Africa and at Niger on Netflix. Don't forget the hashtag as well, behind the scene. Hashtag behind the scene. Now, otherwise, thank you again for taking the time to attend the behind the scene conference. For more information and future updates, please follow She Leads Africa on social media. All the best and have a fantastic weekend. Bye for now.